Hello, agentpreneurs, and welcome to today's episode of the Daily List Report. As always, I'm Randy Shiozaki, your host, one of the founders of ListReports as well. Today is no exception. We've got another great show and a different kind of guest. We've got Cory Vasquez. She is the Chief Marketing Officer at Realty One Group. They're based in Irvine. She's a Colorado native, based in Colorado, and she's got an amazing background. She's had a great career in public relations, social media, cause marketing, communications, more than 20 years. She's previously with Remax. I'm going to let her tell her story, but they were awarded with both a Gold Pick Award and a Grand Gold Pick Award for integrated communications from the Public Relations Society of America. So she knows what she's talking about. Really excited to have a conversation with her today. Of course, while you're here, please consider subscribing to the channel. We've got lots of amazing guests on. I don't want you to miss any of it. Please click the little bell so that you're notified of all of the episodes. Thank you for your support. The growth of this channel has been great. It's a labor of love for us. It's been a lot of fun. So, and as always, comment below if you have questions. We'll do our best to get back to every single one of you. So, all right, well, let's get started. So without further ado, let's bring Cory on. Cory, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for having me. I love doing these. These are fun.
These are a lot of fun, and I talk with a lot of my guests where, this is one of the nice things, and I'm saying this with heavy air quotes, right, about sort of work from home and being remote, is that we can just sort of hop on and do these things. In the past, we'd have to coordinate and wait till you flew into Irvine, and then we'd have to meet in our studio, and now we can just have a conversation at home, and it's so much easier, and this word can get out. So I like that aspect of it.
I do too, and I know we're starting to talk like this, but I think this is our new world. We're going to start embracing it even more and more. The only thing, like you and I said, that we have to schedule is our work around the kids that are homeschooling. Yes. But other than that, yeah, we're free to do this at any time. So I'm loving it. I'm personally am trying to find the good out of this time, and this is one of them.
I'm the same way, absolutely trying to find the good. And I am absolutely convinced, like you said, that at this point, right after how long it's been, people now have new routines, new expectations. Things have changed. And, at least for our company, we did a survey. The vast majority of people don't want to come back full time. They might want to come back 1 or 2 days a week because we miss that FaceTime in that community. But everyone's got their new routine. We've had probably 10% of our staff who've moved. They've left, right? They can't come back to the office because they're gone.
Yep, we're with you. In fact, like some of our executive team has actually moved. So I think you and I were talking before the show started. This company was good enough to let me work out of Denver while they were based in Orange County. And so I was one of 2 people who would call into all those meetings, right, on Zoom calls. And now it's all of us. And I'm finding that my team loves the flexibility of working from home. And I would have to tell you, I think they're more productive than at the office. So we're winning. We're loving it. So
I agree. Productivity has gone up, and it's challenging for some people because as everyone knows, the lines are blurred and people are working more, and it's not really clear when you work and when you don't work. I'm a founder, so this is what I signed up for. I only work, right? But for other people, I think that's more challenging. But you made another point, which I'll just jump on for a second, which is it's really awkward, right, being the only person on Zoom, right? Let's say you've got the execs sitting around the table in Irvine, right, and you're the solo person on a laptop in the corner, and you're like, hey, whoa, hey, I got something to say. It's just super awkward, right?
Yeah. Well, and I'd like to think that I'm a pretty valuable person, but there would be times, I'm not kidding, when they would forget to call me. So I would I'd be doing this, waiting for a meeting to start.
It's so true. It's so true. Like this out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. We didn't call Cory. Somebody grab Cory. So now that we're all doing it and people are getting more and more comfortable, even I find with not having the full workspace, I've seen my team will be out on a deck, on a front deck or something like that. And I love it. I encourage it. I just think this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it.
I've never said this before publicly. It's not a big deal, but I probably spend at least half my day walking while I'm on my conference calls. Okay. And I pop on camera when I need to, but I pop off and I just walk. I've got a quiet place to walk. It's not disruptive, good internet. And I just walk and talk. And that freedom and flexibility is just amazing. We've got people who work up poolside, on their deck. Like it's pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, I think dog at feet, being able to go outside and put on your headset and talk and have a conference call, that's actually what I encourage my team to do. I think when you were talking about blurring the lines of being at home and working is get outside, get that 15 minutes. If you have 15 minutes before a call or something, get up, go. You can sometimes get pretty sedentary sitting in. You're telling them always like go or take the call on the go if you have to.
I agree. Absolutely, 100%. Cool. So, Cory, why don't we do this? Why don't you take a moment and just introduce yourself? I want all of our agentpreneurs out there to get to know who Cory is.
Yeah, absolutely. So like you said in the intro, I've been in public relations, social media, all different forms of communication for 23, 25 plus years. When I started, a graduate of the University of Colorado Boulder, public relations and communications looked entirely different, right? We were pretty much newspaper reporters, writing out press releases. In 25 years, I'll tell you what, this is a field and a discipline I encourage people to get in because it is everything. We didn't have Facebook back then. We didn't have TikTok. God bless us for that.
Right.
But we didn't
Very
have
different
some of
times.
those platforms, right? And so this field, like many, just continues to expand. So I found it very fortunate. I landed at Remax. I love that company, love that brand, love my people there, and spent a long career there doing public relations, social media. And then actually thought, everybody kind of needs to expand their wings, change sometimes. I was ready to go and almost on my way out of real estate and found Realty One Group. And again, I'm a people person. I fell madly in love with this company and the people there. And I still just love my real estate brokers and agents. I don't have my license. I swear one day I'm going to get it. But you know what? These people work so hard in our industry. They are tried and true, and they work their butts off. And I don't even know that buyers and sellers really understand to what extent. So I just love being here. But again, I manage a very small team at Realty One Group, super small, but very nimble. And we do the gamut, everything from media relations and graphics to now digital marketing and all that encompasses. So it's a big world.
That's great. Well, congratulations on the move and the
thanks.
role. We've had a relationship, informal relationship with Realty One for years. We're also based in Orange County, so you guys are in our backyard, and that's been awesome. You said something that's very true there, right? Which is agents are wildly unappreciated. And we see this as a massive trend over the last decade, eroding away at the perceived value of agents, right? Where, now, consumers are like, well, what are you really doing here, right? I found the home. I found it on some big website, right? Like, are you just there to open the door for me? What they don't realize is everything that happens in and around the transaction itself and the negotiation and the back and forth and the risk that's involved. And there's a lot of things, right, that are part of that. So that actually leads to my first question for you, Cory, which is, I'm interested to hear from your perspective in a world in real estate now, right, where there's a ton of tools. We are a provider of one of those, right? We actually have thousands of your agents who use our product. But you're the chief marketing officer of the company, right? So you have a role to, make sure that the agents are good stewards of your brand, right? You have an obligation to provide them with the best-in-class tools. How do you strike that balance, right? How does a CMO, it could just be general, right? How does a CMO of a brokerage find success in this sort of ever-changing and crazy kind of market?
Yeah. Well, I kind of consider that I have two levels to my job. And one is that I have to market this brand, right? I have to get this brand the exposure that it needs and build the trust with our buyers and sellers that it needs so that they'll come and seek out our agents, right? And use our agents and join our brokerages and help our brokerages open even more offices. So that's my job. And that's kind of, if anybody out there is familiar with that marketing funnel, I've got to get people in the top of that funnel to where they're exposed to our brand and they want to come and meet our agents and work with them. But the second part of my job is, again, probably the part that I fall in love with is helping our agents, like you said, not only be stewards of the brands, but be stewards of themselves, right? I really don't want our real estate professionals, and I love this at Realty One Group, we don't call them agents, we call them real estate professionals. I don't want our professionals to be salespeople. So I work diligently, and my team does with our agents to, I'll just say it this way, that's probably not the way to say it, but expose themselves using tools like social media to the real human, the real humanity behind them, the families, the nights that they spend up working late on behalf of their buyers and sellers, all the stuff that they do behind the scenes that our clients never see. That's what I want them to expose so that people will fall madly in love with them and use them forever.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I brought up this example a lot, actually, since I interviewed her, but I interviewed this agent named Gogo. She's based in Michigan. Really popular. You know who she is? Yeah. And, that's what she does. And I think that's one thing that's created a level of success for her is that, in particular with, let's say, Instagram stories, it's this ephemeral opportunity, right, to be able to give a glimpse into your life. It doesn't have to be perfectly shot. The sound doesn't have to be perfect. It's not going to live forever. But that's what she does. She's like, hey, 1 a.m. and I'm finishing up a contract for a buyer, right? Oh, 6 a.m. now, making lunch for the kids, right? Those little glimpses are what make us human. And tell me if this is your experience as well, Cory. But what I found is that if you have a solid presence like that, people that you meet who have a reason to research you, right? You met them at a networking event or whatever it might be. They have this impression that forms from you based on all of that. And it can work one of two ways. One is, oh, this person isn't for me. And that's okay. You have to be comfortable with that. But the other one is, oh my gosh, this person is for me. And what it does is it sort of cuts through all of the noise of the interviews and the listing presentations, and they've already decided that they want to work with you. Is that your experience as well?
100%. That subconscious connection that they make to you. I always tell my agents this, it may not result in a direct Facebook lead tomorrow, but they're building this relationship with you behind the scenes so that when it's time and when they're ready, or when they have a friend coming in that needs a referral or something, they're thinking of you, and they're thinking of you because they know you. This time, especially more now than ever, when we're so limited on interaction, physical and in-person interaction, this is really showing our agents it's pounding home for them the things I've been telling them is like, this is where we connect. Love or hate Facebook, it's where we connect to people. It's where I still get to see my cousins who live in Pittsburgh that I never get to see. It's where people really make an association with me. They know that I'm a chief marketing officer, but I'm a mom. Like you and I were talking about, I was late to a conference call the other day because I was doing algebra, which I swore I would never have to do again in my life. And there's so many people right now, especially who can relate to that story. And that relationship builds without us even knowing it. So the more that you brought up video is my favorite because we just make that connection, that face-to-face connection. I had an agent who did a wonderful video. He got a lead in and he did a video response to that lead, which I love. And he was walking home and said, I'd love to work with you. I'm happy to show you the neighborhoods you're looking at. And his kids were walking behind him, kicking rocks. They were coming home from school with their backpacks on. That's an agent people want to work with.
I
right?
love that. I love that.
Family guy, personable guy, love it. So video and social media, again, love or hate it, it's just the way to go.
It is. Let me ask you a question then. So this YouTube channel, right, this show that you're on right now, I started it basically 6 months ago when we kind of went on to lockdown, kind of a labor of love, right?
Love it.
And we've grown a lot during this time, but I think that sometimes people chase the wrong thing, right? So I set out at the onset, I said, this is about engagement, it's not about views, right? So if you look at our channel, we're about 5,000 subscribers now, which is awesome for 6 months. That's great, like not complaining at all about that. View counts are fine, but the engagement is there, right? So we just crossed last month 10,000 hours of watched content. So I think about that and I'm like, 10,000 hours of people watching our message, your message, right? This sort of thought leadership that we're trying to bring to the industry, that's powerful. And when you think about these micro interactions around an Instagram story, I think what agents fail to understand sometimes is they don't realize that it's a long game that you have to play, right? And this speaks to my question for you, which is your database, which is, I had a top LO who comes on a lot and he's like, if you got 1,000 people on your phone, statistically speaking, right? 100 of them are going to move every year, right? Go this 9-10 year thing. 100 people right there. And those are the people that you're staying top of mind with when you're sharing things. And people like to make fun of like, oh, you're sharing your breakfast. That's useless. But you're sharing your life, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it really does. I like that. What did you call it? Micromoments? Or
yes.
Oh, I love that. I love that because that's what they are. I always go back with my agents specifically and say, like, what is your purpose again for doing this? This is, to me, being on social media is the same thing as a door knock, right? It's just that number of touches that you have to have with your clients to make them still feel connected to you. And so just, I love our trainers and our coaches at Realty One Group because they talk a lot about time blocking your day, right? And they use social media as an example. It's not just posting your meal on Facebook. That's a part of your time blocking. That's a part of lead gen for your day, right? And so I encourage our agents, like you said, you may have 800-900 followers on Facebook, but really focus in on why you're doing it. If you can generate 8-10 leads a year, and that's what you were looking to do in that time block period, then you've hit your mile marker. I love what you said too, because it's been 8 or 10 years. I have been impressing upon people to stop chasing followers, right? Stop chasing that number. That number is crazy. I will tell you, I had one of my favorite agents got up on stage. We invited him to a conference to speak about Facebook. And he said, I've started a Facebook page. It's for my community. You can go look at it, but please do not like it. And the whole crowd got quiet. And he said, because you're not going to engage with that page. You're not in my community, so you're not going to engage. So you're going to drop my engagement number. Please don't like my page. And I think our agents were stunned because they were like, everybody's always asking us to like something or follow them. It's not about that. It's literally about building those valuable engagements and interactions. And I love it when you said that.
I agree. And look, I've talked to countless agents, Cory, that have, you know, by any standard, small followings, right? Small audiences, whether it's YouTube or Instagram or whatever. And if the content is right, if you're authentically yourself, something is going to shake out of that. And that's, again, why I love specifically Instagram stories, though ironically I don't use them for this, I just use YouTube, right? But I love the idea of it because it doesn't have to be produced. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's in the moment and it disappears. And I will say this, let me make one other point and get you to react to this, is that I think a lot of agents, a lot of people, frankly, get so caught up into this ideal of how something is supposed to be perfect or perfectly produced. I literally, for 6-7 months now, and I haven't changed this, I have my phone right here, the phone that you're looking at, like everybody looking at, this is the phone I carry all day. This is the phone I use for work and for fun, right? Like that's right here on a $12 tripod from Amazon. I have an iPod here with a little piece of software on it, and that's it. That's the show. And I'm sitting at home. Like, it doesn't take a lot. Could the video quality be better? Of course it could. Could the audio be better? Probably, right? But it's good enough to get the message across. And I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I think we're actually starting to kind of swivel as a generation now, in that the more pre-produced it looks, the less authentic and the less trustworthy it seems. So I know in our marketing team, we leave the high produced things for the digital ads, the TV ads, if you will, that kind of high produced things. The rest of it, we want them to see the real. We're very big on culture at Realty One Group. We want them to see the real us. And this, like you said, this is the real us. Luckily, I have pants on today. Hopefully you do too. But like this is what you're going to get.
If I'm being honest, but yeah, close enough.
Totally counts. I'm in Colorado. But this is the real us. And I think that becomes actually, it's more acceptable now as a generation, and it's definitely more trustworthy. I will tell you this, our agents who are still afraid of video, the more and more and more and more and more you see yourself, the less you start to care about pre-production and what it looks like. So I just encourage them to keep doing it. The more Zoom calls we've done during this pandemic, the less we focus on what's behind us or on the lighting, and the more we're just focused on each other.
Amen. Amen. Well said, right? And I'm a broken record on this topic, Cory, but it's so true, right? Everybody hates the way they look on camera. Your first videos are going to be terrible, and that's okay. You are going to get used to staring at this little tiny lens, right? In my case, my phone, and it's going to feel natural and normal to you. And to your point about like editing, I actually very much agree with that. Our most popular show was a review I did of a gimbal. I just think it's a super cheap tool that makes video really nice. That's our most popular video. And I dropped it at one point, and it wasn't sloppy, but I dropped it, and I didn't take that out because there's some authenticity to that. And by the way, here's the dirty little secret. It also saves you time because you don't have to go back and edit that stuff, right? So you can't be terrible, right? But it's authentic.
No, and I like that you said save us time, because what we want our agents to do is to get more and more videos out. If you're spending so much time on quality and production and going back and doing it again and again and again, you're losing the time. So if you time block yourself an hour to do videos today to your clients, you're going to get 30 done that are not pre-produced, that are you walking around, like, finished my coffee, I've got another cup, versus that I've got to start over, now I've got to edit the front, edit the back, get the 30 out.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. 100% agreed. You know, let me ask you another question, Cory. I don't think we'd planned for this one, but that happens a lot on this show. One of the things that I've been observing, and I'm just curious to get your take on, is now that most of us are working from home, right? And we already established this, the idea of going back to an office is maybe gone, right? Or at the very least, it's changed. One of the things that brokerages historically relied on for some of the brand awareness, right, as a marketer, right, was physical office space, right? You got the shop in downtown, and you've got the listings pasted up in the window, right? And that was part of that brand recognition. Let me ask you this from a broker's perspective, right? And because we have a lot of brokers, right, small brokerage owners and things like that. How do you think that changes in the world that we're in now and the world we're going to? How do you think that brand recognition and your opportunities to do that change?
It changes the game immensely. And it changes in the favor of those who can be more nimble and who are more, again, relationship building. It's less about space and facility and awe-inspiring offices. It's more about getting to the nitty-gritty of the culture and who you are. And I'll just say, I don't want to plug the company, but the companies, the brokerages that focus on the culture, the team building efforts, whether they're remote or not. We've done some great volunteer and giving days that were completely remote, but we've gotten people together on Zooms. We've done cocktail hours on Zooms and things. Those brokerages that focus on that experience, if you will, that a real estate professional has and that their buyers and sellers have within that quote unquote office, which may not even be physical, are the ones that are going to win. So we are looking to, we're changing with the times. We're looking to, we're actually creating kind of an office in the box idea for our new brokerages that kind of give them the ideas of these internet style cafe offices, these come and go offices. We're focusing on unique spaces. So cafes and beer, what do you call those? The beer, and Philip. Yep, you know what I'm saying.
The draft thingamabob. Yes.
Yep, those kind of things in offices. We're not shying away from that stuff anymore. We're giving people a place to where if they want to meet their clients at our location, they have a great casual little setting to do it. It's not the sit across from a real estate professional at their desk anymore. And it's about the relationships. Like, how can we bring people in? How can we offer buyers and sellers another reason to come into the real estate office besides just signing the documents? Mm-hmm. You know, can they come in and donate toys? Can they come in and meet other people there and not even meet their real estate agent there because there's beer on tap and there's a cafe? It's the experiences, it's the relationships. Yeah, long-winded answer, but I hope that makes sense.
No, it definitely makes sense. And I think we've all had to reinvent. You know, one of the things I'm looking at right now is I have an offsite coming up with my team, but it's not a physical offsite like it always is. Mm-hmm. And there's a company that is providing VR headset experiences for exactly this purpose, where they literally will ship out VR headsets to each of the people that are part of the offsite. And you actually do the offsite, you can play games together and team building, and you can virtually meet. And I'm fascinated about this. So I think we're going to pull the trigger, and if we do, I'll make sure I tell you all about it. But it's interesting, right? So things are changing, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Cory, you know, let's shift topics a little bit.
Let me answer one more from our Yeah, just one more way from the brand perspective that I hope our agents and our professionals can kind of take a cue from is, as a brand, we're also looking at what we consider more lifestyle brands. So if you go out and research some of your favorite brands, like your REIs and some other, Apples and things that are your favorite brands, they're changing their vision and their focus to make you the hero and to make it more about your lifestyle. So REI focuses their branding and their marketing on how they're impacting your overall lifestyle, not just selling you the backpack that you're going to go hiking with. So as a marketing team, we're constantly focused on those lifestyle brands and building that experiences. And I encourage our professionals to do the same thing, to really focus not just, and we say this all the time, this is where I'm a dead horse, is not just on that transaction, but on that life cycle in between when they buy and sell a home. You know, how can you help them reinvest their tax dollars in a kitchen or a new bathroom? How can you help them in a pandemic, reach out and be part of the community? How can you help your buyers and sellers throughout to kind of impact their lifestyle, not just that transaction? So
absolutely. No, well said. That makes a lot of sense. I want to talk for a few minutes about, when you provide tools to your agents, you talk to your agents about social media specifically. Mm-hmm. And you've got agents who, to varying degrees, are comfortable or uncomfortable with it, who, been doing it or haven't been doing it. What is your best advice for an agent in terms of how they get started? Let's just say I'm a brand new agent. I just got my license. I'm hanging it with you guys, and we're sitting down, and I'm like, all right, Cory, where do I begin? What do you tell me?
Yeah, so I tell them, because it can be one of the most frustrating things for me, and I know for them, to go to these conferences and they listen online to webinars like ours or this video like ours, and we go out and we tell them to do these 9 things, and they're like, you know what, I got a real estate business, I gotta list properties, yeah. I can't figure out how Instagram stories works, right? And so I get continually frustrated by our conferences and events where we tell them they have to do these things. You don't have to do these things. What you want to look at is what will kind of help nurture your lead lead funnel, what will help your business, and honestly, what do you love? There are people, I've seen this throughout my career working with real estate professionals, there are people who just kill it in Twitter. Like they can do 140, 225 character tweet like that. There are people who kill it at video. There are people who love their Facebook and are on their Facebook anyways. Start with those that you love, that you kind of feel comfortable with, and build from there. Start building those interactions, and then make yourselves goals to do something a little bit different every day. But I will be the first one, and some people may shoot me on this video to say, you don't have to do it all.
Yeah.
You really don't have to do it all. But I will say, make it part of your business plan for the year to try it. Remember when we first started using an Apple iPhone? I actually don't remember. That was years and years.
I still have the very first one. I still own it.
Do you have yours?
Yeah, the original, very first iPhone from whatever it was, 11, 12 years ago.
I think I still have the one that flips that you can type. My kids found it the other day and were like, what is this anomaly? But you know, when you first got your iPhone, you were like, how am I going to do this? Same thing sometimes when you start out with Facebook, but the more you get used to it, the more comfortable you get with it, just make yourself a dedicated goal. It's like a workout. It's like a diet. It's like a gym workout. Like just keep at it. Knowing that again, in your time blocking, that it can be a profitable thing, that it's working towards helping you build your business. You're not just, you're just not flippantly using Facebook, you're building your business.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. I will say semi-anecdotally, right? Although I think the data is bearing this out, that while I agree with you that you should be on the platform that matters, I think it's very important to use the format that is most natural to you. But as it relates to platform, I'm seeing more and more people away from Facebook. I'm just seeing it not as important as it used to be. It's not to say that you can't be successful there, right? But I'm seeing such a move to Instagram specifically. And if you're comfortable with video, YouTube, because you can, demonstrate your area expertise. YouTube is not the place to talk about your breakfast, right, for most people. But that's what I'm seeing. Does that align with what you're seeing?
Yeah, and it's a good point. I don't want to scare off people by telling them to use all these platforms, but I will. And I've said this before to our real estate professionals: is go out and try them out. Like download the Instagram app, because you're right, we've got different generations on that app. And so know your market, know your niche. Where are your clients at? Because that's definitely where you want to go. We started with Facebook. Instagram came from Facebook. Snapchat came from Instagram. God help us, TikTok came from Snapchat. They keep growing and expanding. So you have to be familiar with them to keep up.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense. But I do like the idea of focus, right? I agree with you that you don't need to be everywhere. I think you should be on the platform that you're most comfortable with, right? I started this show on Facebook as a Facebook Live show. That's what I did. 5 days a week, live, 10:30 a.m. every single day, 5 days a week. And it almost killed me. Thank you. Yes, it almost killed me.
Yeah.
But what I realized was we got tons more views on Facebook, tons more. But the definition of a view is 3 seconds. And I was like, that's not engagement. So I left it, went to YouTube because it suited my needs. And for some people, maybe they would have stayed on Facebook. Maybe that was okay for them. But for my objectives, right, I moved it to YouTube. So you do try. Video was going to be the format, 100%. I knew that, right? And that's why we've really focused here. And this is the bulk of our efforts.
Yeah, and I think there's a balance, right? And if you're going to force yourself to do something like an Instagram or Snapchat or a YouTube because you feel like you have to, you're kind of setting yourself up to quit, right? We all know that. I wanted to give up carbs. It lasted a week. So you gotta go with something that you feel like you can accomplish and you can continue. So don't force yourself to do something that you think that you may not finish.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
One last question for you, Cory, before we wrap, which is, at the end of the day, this is about relationships, as you said, and the foundation of that is trust, right? When I walk into a listing presentation, that seller has to trust that I'm going to be a good steward of the transaction. I'm going to get them the best price. I'm going to be honest and transparent, all of that. How can agents do a better job at sort of engendering trust, right? Like, where does trust fit in from your perspective to the relationship?
I think that in regards to social media specifically, where that comes in is they will build that trust over time, right? And so the value of social media to me is that before you walked cold into that listing presentation, right? Or you walked cold into, you got the buyer in the car and you're driving around looking at open houses. And that's just a very cold relationship. So that's why with social media, you're just building that trust and that idea that you're a real live person that's very much invested in your real estate career in that time before and during. And that may even be a day or two. So a client may find you and we all do this now. You do a quick search on their name and look through their things. They hop on your Facebook page. They see, for example, you have kids. They see a celebratory picture of the house that you just sold with their clients, and you've got a big masked hug on, and you've got balloons over their sold sign. That shows them that you're invested in your clients, right? You're not one and done and I'm out and I'm on to the next deal. And that, for me, that makes me want to work with you. You take the salesman out of the real estate professional and put the relationship and the trust and the love into it.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. And I know, as you said, it can be overwhelming for those who haven't really gotten going on this. But if you do it right, and right doesn't mean perfect, it can be a very natural part of your life, right? You're doing the work anyways. If you're a good agent or you're aspiring to be a good agent, you are putting in the work, you're putting in the time. And it can be really easy to sort of just document that and deliver that message out. And that's going to help you in ways that may not pay off right away, but they will pay off, because here's my sort of parting point, and this never ceases to amaze me, that the moment a potential seller or a potential buyer becomes a buyer or a seller, it's instant, right? Once that decision is made, and that moment is like, who am I going to use? And man, you could have been top of their mind a week ago and they forgot about you and they go somewhere else. And people, I know this drives agents crazy. It's like, how come you didn't call me? The bar is really high to stay top of mind, which is why things like this, I think, are really helpful, because you don't know when that moment is going to happen.
It is. And I 100% agree. You said, like, you're doing this anyways, just document it. And don't think of it as I'm posting my food. Think of it as I'm posting my day. I'm posting my life. That's resonating with somebody. And you don't know when or where or why, but it is, trust me. And I think that our real estate professionals need one good win from a Facebook or a YouTube post or something to see that there's value in what they're doing. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Cool. Awesome. Cool. Cory, see, I told you 32 minutes has already gone by. I told you it was going to go by quickly. Is there anything you want to, any parting words you want to leave our agents with? You know, it's really funny, Cory. I'm not going to edit this out. You froze there for a second, but you froze like this. No, but you froze like this.
Was I doing this?
Yeah, it was a perfect, like, yes, it was good.
I love it. It's us being real. I think somebody's upstairs doing math homework, so it's just us being real.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Cory. Well, hey, thank you so much for joining today. Thanks for sharing your wisdom and thoughts and ideas. We'd love to have you back on, and we can deep dive on any of these topics.
Cool. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of your followers. Love it. So
thank you so much. All right, Cory, we'll talk to you again real soon.
Thanks.
All right. Well, there you have it. I think another great episode, a great conversation. Appreciate Cory's perspective, from a brokerage, right? As a chief marketing officer at Realty One, sort of what's going on, how she's counseling her agents, real estate professionals, and so on and so forth, right? I think this is a really important thing. So hopefully you enjoyed today's episode. Find ways to get started. Find platforms that are natural to who you are. Document your day. These sort of micro interactions, these interactions, not aggressions, these micro moments, right, are really critical, because it's an opportunity for you to show everybody honestly what you're doing anyways, which is you're working really hard to serve your customers. So that's it for today. Again, please don't forget to subscribe. Click the little bell to be notified of future episodes. And until tomorrow, be safe, be healthy, be happy. We'll see you soon.